Hello, I'm Susan Woods, and this is the Fundamental Nonprofit Classes online series overview. Again, I'm Susan Woods. I am a nonprofit consultant, and I own Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions. I started a nonprofit organization myself in 2003. I operated two programs underneath the organizational structure for 10 years. I still have the nonprofit organization active, and it's called Comprehensive Community Based Solutions Incorporated. I've earned three nonprofit management certificates, one from Winthrop University, one from Wake Forest University, and one from Duke University. I'm also a three-time graduate of Winthrop University, earning a Master of Business Administration degree, a Master of Arts in Teaching degree, and a Bachelor of Science degree. You can learn more about me at www.trustsusanwoods.com, or you can call me directly at 704 968 2769. Now, back to why we're here. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to select this video message. I just want to introduce you to the Fundamental Nonprofit Classes online series that I'm introducing. I've been teaching fundamental nonprofit classes in person for years. As a matter of fact, since 2007, almost 13 years. And I'm introducing an online version of those classes. So, what are they? The Fundamental Nonprofit Classes series includes four classes. The first one is how to start nonprofits, how to fund nonprofits, how to manage nonprofits, and how to sustain nonprofits. And when I'm referencing nonprofits, I'm talking about 501c3 nonprofit organizations. The Fundamental Nonprofit Classes online series allows you to complete the four classes in the order in which they are listed so that you can get the full benefit of learning how to operate your nonprofit organization effectively for the long term. So I highly recommend completing these classes in the order in which they are listed so that you can learn how to start, then fund, then manage, then sustain your nonprofit organization successfully. So, the first class I'm going to introduce you to is how to start 501c3 nonprofit organizations, which is an online fundamental nonprofit class, number one of four. Now, when I go through these four classes, again, I'm speaking from a very high level. I'm just giving you a glimpse into what you will learn if you choose to enroll in these online classes. So this is the how to start 501c3 nonprofit organizations online fundamental nonprofit class number one of four. So just a sneak peek at what you will learn. The learning objectives for this class. Upon completion of the how to start 501c3 nonprofit organizations online class, you will be able to describe the advantages and disadvantages of establishing 501c3 nonprofit organizations, list the 8 IRS tax exempt purposes, including the charitable purpose. Complete the 20 steps to starting a 501c3 nonprofit organization, including completing the Form 1023 long version or standard version. And finally, you will be able to explain why you should not complete the Form 1023 EZ version, not the short version. That's not good. So you will learn how to do that, or you will be able to explain why you should not complete the Form 1023 EZ. Now, again, a sneak peek at what you will learn, or some of what you will learn in this How to Start 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class. Again, you're going to learn the 20 simple steps. So let me just tell you what those steps are. One, observe a problem in the community over time. Two, confirm the validity of the problem you observed. Three, register the broad name for the nonprofit organization. Four, acquire the employer identification number or EIN letter. Five, define the purpose of the organization. Six, Determine the location of the organization. 7. List the human resources required to offer the services you plan to offer through your nonprofit organization. 8. List the tangible assets required to offer the services. 9. Combine steps 7 and 8 to create an expense report. 10. Host a community awareness meeting. Now, this is the first 10 of 10, I'm sorry, the first 10 of 20 steps to starting a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Again, the first of 20 steps, the first 10 of 20. You will learn each one of these steps if you choose to enroll in the online version of the How to Start 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class. So let's talk about the next 10 steps that you will learn in that class. Next, 11, you will learn to file the Articles of Incorporation with the Secretary of State's office. 12, you will learn to write bylaws. 13, you will learn to write the narrative description of activities. 14, you will learn to write the conflict of interest policy. 15, you will learn to write fundraising activities. 16, you will learn to write the financial data report. 17, you will learn to complete the Form 1023 application for recognition of exemption, the long form. 18, you will learn how to organize your application packet online. 19, you will learn how to proofread your application packet online. And 20, you will learn how to submit your application using a new online filing process. In January of 2020 of this year, the IRS introduced a new online filing process for the standard Form 1023 application for recognition of exemption. The new filing process went into effect on January the 31st. However, the IRS gave everyone a 90-day extension to implementing the online filing process. So we will have until April 30th to use this new process. Instead of sending paper applications, we will be required to submit our application packets using an online filing process. So in this class, you will learn the new online filing process. So how do you enroll in this class? You are invited to enroll in the How to Start 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class to begin your journey using the steps below. And I've listed the steps that you would use in order to enroll in this class. Step 1, you will go to www.trustsusanwoods.com. That's my website. Then you will go to the menu bar and select Nonprofit Classes. 3, you will select Online Classes from the drop-down. 4, you will select Online Fundamental Nonprofit Classes. And then you will scroll down to the How to Start 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class. You will read a description of the class, and then you will select the Enroll Now button. And then that will take you to a PayPal link in which you will process the $50 PayPal payment. And then once you process the payment, I will send you your class so that you can start your learning journey. So that's the enrollment process for the How to Start 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class. That is class number 1 of 4. Next, the How to Fund 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class, which is online fundamental nonprofit class number 2 of 4. What are the learning objectives for this class? Well, here they are. You're learning how to fund, how to get money for your organization. It's one thing to start a nonprofit organization, but it's another thing to fund it or to get money or to generate, I like to call it generating revenues. It's one thing to generate revenues, to do the work. So let's talk about what you will learn in this class. In this class, upon completion of the How to Fund 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations online class, you will be able to explain, funding diversification in the nonprofit sector, charging client fees and the benefits of charging client fees, selling products or unrelated business income is what it's called, fundraising strategies, traditional and social media. You'll be able to explain securing investments using generational demographics, which is always fun, and how you will be able to explain locating requests for proposals, which are RFPs, and writing nonprofit grant proposals. So these are the objectives for the How to Fund 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations online class. One thing that we talk about in the How to Fund 501c3 Nonprofits online class is we talk about crowdfunding platforms. Crowdfunding platforms. We talk a lot about this way that you can fund your organization. Now, one crowdfunding platform that I wanted to, or that I do introduce in this class is the GoFundMe.org. GoFundMe.org. This is an independent, registered 501c3 public charity which works closely with GoFundMe, the version that you've probably heard about for a few years, which is the world's largest and most trusted online fundraising platform to provide a transparent way to support your favorite causes and urgent needs. We distribute your tax deductible donation to many fundraisers and charities related to your cause. So I highly recommend using GoFundMe.org, the .org version, to raise money for your organization because it is a public charity status. And quite frankly, I believe that it provides more credibility and more transparency than the regular GoFundMe.com platform that we're used to. This platform, GoFundMe.org, is specifically designed for nonprofit organizations to generate revenues through fundraising. So I encourage you to take a look at this platform and consider using it for your nonprofit fundraising strategies in terms of crowdfunding. Now, here's the other GoFundMe.com site. And again, this one is for people who just want to raise money almost for anything. But again, I prefer to use the new site that's created specifically for nonprofit organizations. And the difference between the two is one is GoFundMe.org, that's for charitable organizations, .org meaning organization, and this one is GoFundMe.com. So just take a look at both. You can determine which one is best for you, but I just highly recommend GoFundMe.org for nonprofit organizations. And you can see here it has a, an item here on the menu at the very top that says new for nonprofits. And if you click on that link, it would take you to the GoFundMe.org site. But these are some of the things that we're going to talk about, or that I do talk about in depth in the online How to Fund 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class. So I go into much more detail about crowdfunding in that class. So let's talk a little bit more about what it takes to be successful when you are using a crowdfunding platform. I call it crowdfunding ingredients. You need emotion, you need to offer incentives, promotion, make it easy to invest, create a challenge for other people to join in, and allow comments for people to make, and show gratitude. So, your crowdfunding ingredients for success are whatever you're doing to raise money, or whatever reason you're using to raise money, has to evoke emotion in the people who are reading about your request for funding. What incentives are you offering? Do you offer certain levels of investment that people can take advantage of, like a diamond level, a gold level, a silver level investment? How are you promoting it? Promotion is key. We hear about these huge fundraising success stories using crowdfunding, but promotion is the key. And a lot of times, those very successful campaigns are successful because of promotion. They get more than likely they've gotten national attention on the news or something like that that people gravitate toward. So what would your promotional strategies be? Make it easy to invest. No one should have to look for where they can click to make an investment. Offer a challenge. Of course, you're going to let them know or let potential investors know how much money you need and why. Allow people to make comments on the campaign. And also, don't forget to show gratitude for people even making a contribution to what you are supporting. But again, we talk more about this in the actual class. So, how do you enroll? You are invited to enroll in the How to Fund 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class to begin your journey using the steps below. And I'm not going to read the steps again because they are identical to the steps that you would use for the How to Start class, except you would scroll down in step number 5, you would scroll down to How to Fund the class or How to Fund 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class, and just follow the other steps. And once you process your $50 payment, then I will send you the link to complete the class at your pace, around your schedule, anywhere you want, in the privacy of your own home or whatever. But it's your class to complete. The next class in the series is the How to Manage 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class, which is online fundamental nonprofit class number 3 of 4. So this is the third class. This is the third class in the series of 4 classes. So the learning objectives. In this class, upon completion of the How to Manage 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations online class, you will be able to explain human resource management, financial resources management, and image and public relations management. So now we're talking about how to manage human resources, finances, and the image of your nonprofit organization. Now, I hope as you have listened to me explain these classes thus far, you can see how important it is for you to complete the classes in the order listed because they do build upon each other as you go through the classes. So, in this class, let's talk about human resources. You will learn about the following categories of human resources in the online version of this How to Manage 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class: board of directors, advisory committees, compensated employees or paid employees, contractors, people who work under the Form 1099, volunteers, people who volunteer to offer services to help you or to help your organization reach its goals. So we will talk in detail about all of these roles: board of directors, advisory committees, compensated employees, contractors, and volunteers. We will also talk about financial management, like I said, financial resources management. And one way that we will, or one thing that we will spend a lot of time on is talking about the Form 990 information return. A lot of people wonder, okay, how do I report what I'm doing, or how does the IRS track what I'm doing? Do they micromanage us, or they've heard so much about the federal government being involved, and how does that work? Well, the IRS mandates that all 501c3 nonprofit organizations submit a Form 990 information return every single year. Every year. It doesn't matter if you're not offering any services. It doesn't matter if you're not receiving any funding. It doesn't matter. You have to complete the appropriate Form 990 information return for your nonprofit organization. For example, as I stated before, I still have my 501c3 nonprofit organization active. However, I don't offer any programs under it right now. But I don't want to lose my status just in case I do decide to offer programs in the future. So, what is the Form 990 information return? Tax exempt organizations must file the appropriate Form 990 information return each year with the IRS. So, it is a form that you will download from irs.gov. Depending upon the amount of revenues you generate, would dictate the type of form you will complete. And we talk about that extensively in this class. The Form 990 information return is the IRS's primary tool for gathering information about tax exempt organizations. So we talk about all of the information that's required to be entered into those forms and when the forms are due. There are three major types of Form 990s, and we talk about the three major types, which are the Form 990N, or some people call it the Form 990 postcard, the Form 990EZ, and the regular old Form 990. Now, there is another Form 990, which is for private foundations, and it's called Form 990PF, Private Foundation, but we don't talk about that in our class because I help people with charitable organizations, not private foundations. So it's a whole lot of information regarding the Form 990 information return that we talk about in the class. And I even have samples that I will share with you online for the Form 990 information return. Public image management is the third component of managing a nonprofit organization. You have to manage how you appear in the public because it doesn't take much for people to ruin your reputation. So, public image management is important. And we talk about the following categories of public image management in the How to Manage 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class. We talk about your image. What is your image? How do you project yourself in the community? Because if you start a nonprofit organization, you represent that organization 24/7. So, what is your image every day? What image do your employees project? How about your volunteers? Even though people are volunteers and they may not be paid for the work that they do, if they are affiliated with your organization, then it matters how they look, or the image that they project in the community. How do your written materials look? Are they neat? Are they organized? Do they have spelling errors, grammatical errors? How do your written materials look in the community? What about your website layout? Is your website easy to navigate? Social media platforms. Do you have a separate social media platform for your nonprofit organization, separate from your own personal social media platform? I highly recommend that. What about your program return on investment? Are you transparent about the money that comes into your organization? Do you produce records to let people know what monies are coming into your organization? Well, that's your return on investment or ROI. People deserve to know what is the return on their investment. What's being done? How is the money being used? And those financial reports will let them know your money is being used toward what you designated it to be used toward. Transparency is always a good rule of thumb to use regarding public image management. Transparency. People need to be able to see what you are doing with your organization transparently. So, the enrollment process. You are invited to enroll in the How to Manage 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class. To begin your journey, use the steps below. And again, the same exact steps we used before, except in step 5, you will scroll down to the How to Manage class to process your payment, your $50 payment. And this $50 is, in my opinion, so generous because I have worked in the nonprofit sector now since 2003, and I'm also a lifelong learner. I work in a corporate environment full time in learning and development, and I have seen my for 28 years. No, I'm sorry, 30 years. This is 2020. It's 30 years this year that I've been in learning and development, and I've seen my share of poor training, ineffective training, waste of time training. I promise you, my classes are easy to learn, easy to follow, easy to use. And the online version of these classes give you the benefit of being able to, again, complete these classes at home or wherever you may be traveling around your schedule at your pace, and you can repeat them as many times as you want. So this is your opportunity to learn all of the classes, all four classes that are listed in the Fundamental Nonprofit Classes online series. So let's get to the last one, number 404. How to sustain 501c3 nonprofit organizations, which is online fundamental nonprofit class number 4 of 4. We've talked about how to start, how to fund, how to manage. Now we need to talk about how to keep it going. How to keep the nonprofit organization going, especially when you've been around for 3 to 5 years. People start to assume that you don't need financial support anymore because you're doing good. You've been around for a while. We have to let people know that we need them to help us sustain our nonprofit organization. So we're going to talk about that at a high level. So the topics that I discuss in the How to Sustain 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class include the following: a SWOT analysis, a SAR report, and a sustainability plan. Now, I'm going to admit right up front that this class is not as exciting as the other classes, as to how to start, how to fund, and how to manage. However, the information in this class is crucial to your success because you don't want to be one of those nonprofit organizations that starts strong and ends within the first few years because you didn't have a sustainability plan in place. So that's why I emphasize, almost plead with people to complete this class because it is so important. So let's talk about it at a high level. And of course, when you take the class, you'll get all the details. Sustain means to support something or keep it going. Yes. How do you support something or keep it going for the long term? When you think about organizations that have been around for years, like the YMCA, over 100 years, United Way, American Red Cross, Salvation Army, what did the early leaders put in place to keep things going, to sustain the organization? Well, we're going to talk about that in this class. The SWOT analysis is the first thing that we do because a SWOT analysis is a study undertaken by nonprofit professionals to identify its internal strengths and weaknesses, as well as its external opportunities and threats that impact program services. So let me read that again more slowly. A SWOT analysis is a study undertaken by nonprofit professionals to identify its internal, inside of the organization, internal strengths and weaknesses, as well as its external opportunities and threats that impact the program services. So, in this class, in the How to Sustain 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class, we take a step back. We take a step back and we say, okay, where are we? Where are we as an organization? How are things really going? You have to do that to plan, to sustain. So a SWOT is an acronym for strengths, that's the S, weaknesses, that's the W, opportunities, that's the O, T, that's the threats. So SWOT is an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And again, strengths and weaknesses pertain to internal strengths and weaknesses, and external factors are the opportunities and threats. A SAR report. Now, after you have learned how to complete a SWOT analysis in the class, then we would take it a step further to do a SAR report. A SAR report talks about the situation, that's the S, describes the internal weaknesses and external threats. So in a situation, we pull out the weaknesses and we pull out the threats. That's what we focus on. We're not going to focus on opportunities and strengths. We're going to talk about the weaknesses and threats. Then we create an action plan, which describes the action plan used to address the internal weaknesses and external threats. So we have to create an action plan. How are we going to deal with the internal weaknesses we identified within our organization? And how are we going to deal with the external threats? That's what we're going to put in the plan, in the action plan. And then we're going to describe the projected improvements after implementing the plan. That's the results section. So we are going to say, okay, when we implement this plan to address the internal weaknesses and the external threats, we are going to describe the projected improvements that we would expect to take place. Finally, we get to the sustainability plan. And this is the sustainability plan. We've done the SWOT analysis, we've done the SAR report. Now we're going to complete content or create content or develop content for each one of these components in the sustainability plan, because we will have the content we need from the SWOT analysis and from the SAR statement to put into the sustainability plan. So this is what the How to Sustain 501c3 Nonprofit Organization class looks like. Again, it's not fun like the other class, but it is crucial. And you will walk away with a plan that's going to help you sustain your organization for decades to come. Even when you walk away, even when you retire and pass it on, we talk about that. We talk about succession planning. So all of this is crucial information to help you sustain your organization for decades to come. So the enrollment process is the exact same, except step 5. You will scroll down to the How to Sustain 501c3 Nonprofit Organizations class in step 5, but all other steps are the same. I really, really hope that you take advantage of these new online fundamental nonprofit classes. This series of classes I have worked on, like I said, I've taught them since 2007 in one format or another. But this is the first time that I have created them in an online format. So I hope that you take advantage of this opportunity to complete all 4 classes: how to start, how to fund, how to manage, and how to sustain. I know that once you complete all 4 classes, you will be prepared. You will be prepared to operate your nonprofit organization successfully. I can promise you that. So, fundamental nonprofit classes online series: how to start nonprofits, how to fund, how to manage, and how to sustain. Here you go. Here's your opportunity. Each class is only $50. That is an excellent investment. I know it's excellent because I've been through so many classes that were terrible that I paid a lot of money to attend. I use my personal expertise to create these classes. My own personal experiences are infused in each class. I give examples, relevant examples. Of course, I use my educational credentials. I only present information that's current and accurate, which means I have to do my homework in order to present you with information that is accurate and current. I don't believe in providing information that's not accurate or current. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time that you spent listening to me go through these 4 classes and explaining at a high level what you will learn in each class. Each class is very detailed. So thank you so much for taking the time. And I hope you will take advantage and go ahead and enroll in these classes using the steps that I provided. I'm Susan Woods of Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions. You can reach me at trustsusanwoods.com, and you can trust me. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.